on this issue of the carbon tax, and it's supposed to achieve the goal of lowering emissions. Conservative MP came out and spoke against this very specifically of where's this carbon tax really going and putting the pressure on Liberal Party.
You won't believe this. Justin Trudeau's radical environment minister, yeah, this guy, accidentally revealed the truth about the carbon tax. And you won't believe what I'm about to tell you. Justin Trudeau has been telling Canadians that his carbon tax is needed for one reason and one reason only: to reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
Pollution pricing is the backbone of our climate strategy. It is foundational because it has proven to work all over the world, not only to drive down carbon emissions, but to raise innovation and energy efficiency and to create jobs in the emerging green economy.
He keeps telling Canadians if you open your wallets and pay his costly carbon tax, emissions will go down. Guess what? I asked the government how many emissions have been directly reduced from the carbon tax. This is a response from Trudeau's very own environment minister. The government does not measure the annual amount of emissions that are directly reduced by federal carbon pricing. You heard that right. The Liberals don't know if their carbon tax works because they don't measure the results. In fact, after 8 years, emissions have gone up under Justin Trudeau's carbon tax. Folks, the carbon tax is a complete scam, and Trudeau's environment minister just proved it. In fact, Canada ranked 62nd out of 67 countries for climate change performance in 2023. That's 4 rankings worse than the previous year. On April 1st, Trudeau is increasing his carbon tax again by 23%. So the next time you see your gas, grocery, or heating bill increasing from the carbon tax, ask yourself what you're paying for. Because the Liberals sure don't.
Damn. It's funny because I'm an evaluator by trade. So what matters gets measured and what measured matters, right? So I specifically look at healthcare funding and projects that are funded by public dollars in that way. And if we can't justify the cost, like those things, they're a huge flag for the government. And so to see something like this, where the environment minister goes, oh, well, we don't measure the impact of the carbon tax on emissions. It's like, well, then what the heck is it for? Like, what do you mean you don't measure it? Like, nowhere in my experience with the public service, when you're using funds in a way that is supposed to be financially prudent and things that are supposed to be fiscally responsible, you don't not measure the outcomes of the thing that you're enacting and paying for. So this is just a slap in the face again to all Canadians, not just rural Canadians, but all Canadians this time. Like that, I just found ridiculous. Like nowhere do you see that in any other part of government where they don't measure the thing that they're spending money on, or they're collecting money on, or they're reporting on. Like, what the heck?
It goes back to my point I made earlier. We have activists and extremists in politics when their only goal is their tunnel vision of just, we're going to make everything green, oil bad, everything gas bad, and we're going to put a carbon price on it, make everyone suffer, to force them to go to electric, force them to go green. And so there's no plan behind our carbon tax. We don't measure the emissions. We don't measure the results of our policy. Say what you want about government. The whole goal is to try and get results. And any time the government puts any policy in place, their role is to try and figure out if there was any impact made by the policy. And they full on said in documents, we're not even looking at the result of this policy. We're just doing it. This is the guy who is in charge of environment. That's troubling.
That's what I feel like this whole government has been, though. It's just we're doing it without any consideration for the downstream effects or the impacts. And so, but like I said, like in provincial government, at least in the Nova Scotian provincial government that I know intimately, they are looking at all the dollars that are spent. They're looking at the outcomes from policy, and they are nixing bad policy, and then they're asking what happened with those dollars. Like, there's always accountability for these kind of things, because if not, that's money that's wasted. So to me, it's just so irresponsible that they don't measure that. And then to have the audacity to stand in front of the Canadian public and go, look at us in Canada. We're doing such a good job on our climate initiatives. We've collected so much carbon tax. We're not going to tell you how much we collected, though. That's secret. We're not telling you that.
But we're giving it all back to you.
But we're giving it back to you, you know? Like, where does this make sense? Because this has been the messaging. It's that we're collecting carbon tax, but we're giving it back to you, and you're getting more. What? Like, no, just stop collecting it in the first place. Leave me with my money and I'll make my decisions. Thank you.